it can get away from you, but it's not all as glamorous as everyone thinks it is. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people, and I don't even like the word, it's like they look at the fame side of things, and I don't like it because that's not what I do the job for. I don't class myself as famous. Never once thought I am, and never ever will. I'm a daft lad from Newcastle who's been lucky enough to follow his dream and does a job that he wants to do. And I keep telling myself that because 99% of the population doesn't get to do that. Even at the start of the year, wasn't that I'd hit some sort of depression or anything like that, but I felt like I was losing my mind because I'd came back from tour and I just couldn't adjust back to normality. It wasn't like normal life. I just couldn't get around the jet lag. So you're talking 3-4 days with absolutely no sleep whatsoever. And I was going on like nighttime drives, and like this voice in my head started coming more and more, and it was kind of like the only way you're going to go to sleep is by smashing your car into that lorry across there or things like that. And that's when I started thinking, hell, like there's something wrong.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I've managed to get a hold of him. Christoph, welcome.
Thanks, mate.
Pleasure to have you on. I've managed to grab you in between flying around.
I have indeed. Sorry for the delay. I know we've been trying to get this sorted for a good while now.
Yeah, forever. So where have you been recently? Where have I got you from?
America for predominantly the whole of the summer, and then the last bit there was America, South America, and then straight from there for my last show in Ibiza, which was one hell of a journey type of thing. But
and we've just before we've started, you've had to take a call to sort out India via flights, Australia.
Yeah, around the UK for the next few weeks, and then literally go from here to America, back here to India, to New Zealand, to Australia, to Bali, to Australia, to back here, and then eventually come home. Like, when I say here, I mean like the UK. Yeah, it's should be good. And I would pretend my sister was away for Christmas, so she was kicking off. But I was like,
you winded everyone up.
Yeah, I just joking. I'll go back to America for New Year and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've got a bit of downtime in December, which I don't know if I want or not.
I was going to say, what does it feel like when you slow down now? Because obviously, like the whole dream, a lot of people, there'll be some DJs that are listening, some promoters, other people that know the party world, and they see that DJ flying around the world, playing their own tracks, you know, getting paid to travel and see all these different places. What does it feel like when you slow down now?
To be honest with you, I like my team always make me take time off, and I'm always kind of reluctant to do so. Then towards the end of, say, the 6 weeks that you've been on tour or something, you begin to realise that you are running on fumes and it's just the adrenaline getting you through. And I mean, I always look at it this, you know yourself through promoting, people pay serious money for DJs. Mm-hmm. People pay serious money to get into clubs and to buy the drinks and things like that, especially in the likes of Ibiza and stuff. So if you're to turn up with what I would class as a face like a smacked arse, do you know what I mean? It's gonna, it goes out to the crowd, and the crowd look back and think he's not fucking arsed about, he's not interested at all. When really it's just you're a bit tired or stuff. So I always try and be as upbeat as I can, when I'm not really one of those DJs who stands there and gives it all the hands in the
You're
air.
not a dancer.
Nah,
you're a groover. You're a groover, not a dancer.
Yeah. So I try and just be there and interact with the promoters, the crowd afterwards and things like that. So as I say, you do realise that you are running on adrenaline and on fumes and stuff like that. So you think, right, I'll get back. Then I get home and I can't sleep because of the jet lag. I'm really, really bad with it. Then I come down with like a flu because of all the being on the planes with the aircon and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It's really bad for it. So I always come down with some sort of flu, and I get through that. So the past week, that's what I've been battling with. Now I'm still a little bit tired, but I'm fucking bored out of my mind, and I'm like just trying to hold off from going in the studio. Now I'm just like, right, I'm definitely writing a track this week, so I'll probably go in tomorrow or Friday, get something done, and I just want to be back on the road again, just like, you know what I mean? All my mates are all loved up. I'm sat here single, just twiddling my thumbs on a night time, like fucking hell, this is boring.
Desperately scrolling through Tinder.
I haven't got it yet, but I'm really close.
Coming up next. Yeah. Didn't you used to really be bad with flying?
Yeah, mate, terrible.
Because I remember when we went out to Ibiza and you were, I think it was about midday in maybe 2013, something like that, middle of the season, and you were sinking a couple of pints. And I was like, you're getting on it a little bit early, and your thing was, no, this is just so I can kind of get on the plane and not feel too uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think like the whole drinking beforehand used to really relaxes, and you get to that point where you don't really care that much. Now it's a second nature. I mean, I still do panic when you're going, I don't know, across the Atlantic and you hit major turbulence and stuff like that. But I don't know, I've got this voice in my head which keeps on telling us that the plane's going down, and I'm arguing with, and I kind of bypass the whole turbulence thing because I'm arguing with a voice in my head.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I just realised that it is work. It's what I've got to do to climb the ladder and to reach the dreams which I've set myself, type of thing. And I'm still not 100% comfortable with it, and I don't think many people are. It's just something that you have to do.
It's very unnatural.
Yeah.
Being in a plane and being 35,000 feet.
Yeah, my doctor tells me that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, all the time. He's just like, it's not normal for you to sit on planes for as much as you do, for as long as you do, as many times a year as you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The pressure on you and things like that. But as I say, mate, it's worked.
I get it. So, by way of starting a little bit of an origin story for you, I think one of the things that I've quite selfishly probably enjoyed about being able to see the trajectory of your career is I got to spend a lot of time with you like 10 years ago when we were both partying in Newcastle, and we were playing gigs together, and you've played for some of my events just as, you know, little normal local gigs. And then I've seen that trajectory as it's climbed up and how you've got to the place that you are now, where you're supporting Eric Prydz on New Year's Eve and releasing tracks on his record label, when 10 years ago you would be talking about him with the same kind of starry-eyed fanboyness that everybody else does.
Yes.
And seeing that trajectory, seeing you go from being a DJ of which I know hundreds to being those of which I know like maybe you and Patrick Topping are the only two guys who are even really close to that kind of like.
Yeah, there's a few coming out in Newcastle, mate. There's some good ones. I mean, Richie's doing well.
I don't know him though.
Yeah, right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackie Moore's starting to get there as well. Yeah,
he is. Yeah,
it's a hotspot, isn't it, for DJ talent?
It is, mate. Honestly, like a lot of people are starting to see like what's in the water up in the northeast, and I'll say the northeast because there's only two from actually Newcastle, and even though the rest of them are just like,
Sunderland,
Gates, and all them are like, we're from Newcastle. I'm like, no, you're fucking not.
Stop branding yourself. So, can you just give us a little bit of how would you define your career? That'd be a good question.
I don't really know. I mean, ever since I've been a young kid, I've DJed. My dad was a DJ. My brother was a DJ. So it's kind of been in the family, and it's all I've ever wanted to do. But actually understanding the whole of the industry and how I would get there, I didn't really have a plan. I didn't understand it whatsoever. I mean, we were just sat around and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be a DJ, that type of crack, do you know what I mean? Everyone's like, oh, of course you are, mate. And then it actually took, sadly, like one of my friends passing away. He just died out the blue, had a toothache, do you know what I mean? And I think just basically he's took too many like painkillers in too short a period of time by accident. His body's just shut down type of thing. And that just gave me a massive kick up the arse. It's that whole cliche that could happen to anyone. And I just was just like, right, the only way I'm going to kind of reach these goals which you've set yourself in life type of thing is by like learning to produce. Now I can't play an instrument or anything like that. I just...
Still now? Not even the trumpet?
Nah, I've just, like considered learning the piano because I really do like pianos, but... and you can obviously pass that on in the keyboard and sit there with your MIDI keyboard, but I find it easy just to draw in on Ableton, on the piano roll, what I want to do. And so I'll just loop certain, like 1 bars, 2 bars, 4 bars, whatever, and start writing my patterns and messing around. And fortunately, I know what kind of works on the dance floor because I've been in that many nightclubs and I go out that much and stuff like that. And I know exactly what I want to make for what time in the night and things like that. And just went from there, really.
So your foundation as a club DJ, playing like high volume, lot of nights, lot of like time under tension.
Yes.
That has created a good base.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, for DJing alone, some of the nights that I used to when I worked for you guys type of thing, I would be DJing for 6 hours from 10 till 4 or whatever like that, or 5 hours, 10 till 3 or 9 till 3, whatever it was. And that has taught me a lot what I need to know at reading a crowd, seeing what's going on, seeing what to play, doing your homework on it and making your like set sound different to anybody else out there. You know what I mean? Like homing in on certain areas and things. I mean, Newcastle's been a city where predominantly it's been, when I've been around, it's been R&B, pop music, which has been the big sound. But there was a huge surge of house music, that funky house stuff which come through.
And stuff
like the Head Candy style and everything like that. And every DJ in town was playing that. And at that moment in time, I was thinking, fucking hell, like there's big competition out there. Because at one point, I was literally the only DJ in town who was playing house music. So then you've got to kind of look at it and think, right, what's working? How can I get myself some promos? How can I make my set different to theirs and stuff like that? So that's when you start looking at making like a bootleg, a mashup type of thing and going from there. But yeah, like I would say without a doubt that the whole long set thing, working for 5-6 hours, has really homed in on the DJing side of things and helped me become a lot better at it type of thing and reading a crowd more.
Yeah, so there's a guy called James Smith who's a famous online PT now.
Yeah.
And he talks a lot about the fact that he cut his teeth doing like 10,000 hours of on-floor PTing.
Right.
And he's now transitioned that and his abilities that he's learned doing like the grunt work of just normal everyday stuff. And now he's distilled that down. And it's kind of the same for yourself, right?
Of course, yeah.
You know, if you can play the Tup Tup Palace on a Friday in the middle of December with 150 people in there, like what's Creamfield's main stage?
Yeah. You know, like it's something stupid.
Baptism of fire.
Yeah, right, it is.
So one of the things that you touched on there, which there's a few elements of your career that I absolutely love. And again, I've had this weird voyeuristic ability to see it so close up, which is rare. So I'm taking the opportunity to kind of to indulge myself a little bit. One of the things I really enjoyed, although it was a fucking nightmare for me at the time as a promoter, is that you would never compromise your sets.
No.
And I don't want any DJs that are listening, if you don't play for me, follow that way. If you do play for me, do not fucking listen to him, please, because it's a nightmare. But one of my favourite stories of ours is when we played in Ibiza. So we took you out to Ibiza twice. I think we actually gave you your first ever gig in space. Do you remember upstairs in the terrace?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So
when I walked off on the terrace.
That was the second time.
Is that the
so the terrace was when you finished.
Oh, it was the first one like that little small room.
Yeah, that was upstairs in the Terrazza thing.
Yeah.
And then the second time we played a big boat party, and the after party was in Amnesia's terrace.
Yes.
In the main terrace room. But the way that it worked, like typically anyone who's ever been to Ibiza, 10 o'clock at night in Ibiza is a ghost town.
Yeah.
No one's there. It's like the cleaners and the like roadie techs.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened was you had these 10 boats, each filled with like 200 people.
Yeah.
And they'd all been steaming from 6 p.m, roll straight into the club, and they'd just fill this room. So very bizarrely, your opening set was like a 2 a.m, 3 a.m, 4 a.m. And it had to really be hard hitting straight away. And anyway, I was like, right, fine. Had you and someone else lined up to play this thing. And this room starts filling up. And I'm like, sweet, he's playing his vibe. That's cool. And one of the guys comes over, the promoter comes over and says, we're going to have to get him to like step it up
Speed
a bit.
Up,
so I give you a nudge, and you're like, oh yeah, fine. Like the way that you do when you DJ, and I fine. All right, cool. No, and I know how far I could push you as well. After a couple of years of work, I was like, back off a bit. And then sure enough, like 3 minutes later, because they're expecting like, you know, big house. This was 2012. They're expecting like Swedish House Mafia and stuff like that. And they come over and it's like, no, he's still not pushing it enough. And I was like, right, come back over, nudge you again. Same thing happens, nudge you a third time, and you were just like, right, fuck it. The next guy can come on. I'm not bothered.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was probably first time in Amnesia, playing Amnesia as well.
It was,
on the terrace, 2,500 people losing their shit. They're all hammered, like perfect crowd. And rather than you delve into your crate somewhere to pick out some bangers that you probably would have had floating around that you could have played from back in the day, your thing was, no, I'll walk off.
Yeah.
And I just put someone else on.
Yep.
My favourite story.
Yeah. Mate, like this, it sounds stupid, but there's always a reason for it. And I'm thinking of the future. I'm thinking of the bigger picture. Now, them were wanting to push it to, I don't know, say the BPM up to 132. I would have been at 122, 123. Do you know what I mean? So to jump up there, you got to remember that there's other DJs to come on who are the headliners of that club, who will be coming on from, say, 1, 2 in the morning. Now, if them step into the booth and the kid who's on before them, this little unknown shitbag, is playing at 132, they're going to be like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Kick off, complain, and they're going to come at you to tell you to slow it down. Do you know what I mean? And in my world, those are the guys who I want to meet. So if I've always like started on a bad foot with them, and then remember me for the kid who was playing too fast and was playing a load of shit, instead of playing a warm-up set for them, you're already going to be someone who they don't really want to associate with. Do you know what I mean? And it was a brand new world out there to me, what I was trying to get into. And I was just think about the long run. This is just a little warm-up gig to a bunch of kids who are off the fucking head. Do you know what I mean? Them aren't going to remember you.
Yeah.
So I remember, and the guy come across to me at the bar and was just like, look, I'm sorry for saying. I said, look, you've got a club to run, but I've also got a career to start. And he bought me a shot, and I said, I'll guarantee I'll be back to headline your club. And I think it was maybe the year after that, I'd done it with Defected, went back, and you stood there, and I said, I told you I'd be back. Well, I just fully believed that that's what I would do. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of that, the whole believing in yourself. And I knew that was the big picture, and I knew that was my aim, and I knew what I was going to be doing, and I wouldn't jeopardize it by playing fucking Show Me Love or something like that. It would have went off. And I'm sure the kid who come on after us, that was his first song. Yeah. And the whole place went off, and I could have played that, but doing that could have also jeopardized whatever the whole plans were. Could have fucked it up. You know
I think Nathan Williams actually played a Backstreet Boys remix, a Deep House, Big House Backstreet Backstreet's back. All right.
I think that's when I left him and across the road to Privilege.
He walked out. Not only did you walk out of the booth, you walked out of the club. That's what happens when you play Backstreet Boys remix, isn't it? But so even going back, again, indulging myself further about some good memories. Do you remember when we went to Lane 7 for Michael's birthday? And Pete Tong played your track on Radio 1 on the evening time for the first time ever. We were on your old BM. Yeah. Man, these sorts of things, because even then, would that have been maybe Pepsi or Big H or something like that? Would have that been even before that time? That sort of a track.
Was it not Guffers or something?
Probably was Guffers.
Guffers or Shelter or something like that. So one of the ones that started getting on the radio.
Probably your first real big track. Yeah. But this, still at that stage, you were still essentially a local level DJ. Yeah. So how do you get from being a guy who once has Pete Tong play a track on a Friday? What happens between that point and flying around, literally spending your life on planes, playing the biggest gigs on the planet?
Your guess is as good as mine. I think a lot of it is being in the right place at the right time, and I do think that.
With the right sound as well.
Yes, I mean, my sound has changed a lot since those days. But I've always known what I was doing, and I was always making more of this progressive melodic sound. And it wasn't really getting anywhere because it's such a niche market. So I realised that, what I've got to do was kind of delve into the more techier stuff, which is really bubbling. It's getting all the big crowds and what everyone's starting to play. Maybe make a few hits in that to create a base following, and then start going slowly back to the melodic side and bringing them in. That was the whole kind of business plan type of thing that I had.
It worked really well, because there was a period where you were quite tightly tied in with Hot Since 82, right?
Yeah. I mean, I still am a huge fan of Daly, and I ended up signing with the same manager as him and stuff like that. But again, they just didn't fully get the whole progressive vibe. And that's fair enough, do you know what I mean? I don't know if they didn't enjoy it or what, I don't know, but it was kind of all of a sudden Eric stumbled across Catsy.
Is that the song?
Yeah, and that was the last track on 8 Track, which I'd done for Daly, which is this conceptual album project that we'd done. Mm-hmm. And Eric had played that on his Epic radio show.
Was that on his podcast, was it?
Yeah, really? And I'd seen it. Someone had said something, so I'd seen it. And I was in America at the time, and I was actually meant to play LA. And on the flight on the way over, the gig got cancelled because the week before there was a fight in the club. So I got there and the promoter said the gig's off. So I had a few drinks with the promoter, then flew off, and it was 2.5 weeks later. I was still in America, playing my last show in Chicago on the Saturday night. And Eric was actually doing 2 charity shows for a guy called James Lillo, who passed away. And he was doing them at the club I was meant to be playing in LA. Mm. Now, on the first one, by all accounts, the guy who was on before him played all of Eric's tracks, which you just don't fucking do. So he was pissed off about that. This guy who manages the club's sound in LA contacted my manager at the time. He said, look, does Chris want to fly back and warm up for Eric. We all know he's a big Eric fan. So they rang and said, look, you've got to pay for your own flight across to LA from Chicago, then a new one home from LA. You've got to pay for your own accommodation, but you do get to warm up for your hero. I said, no, it is. I may never ever get that opportunity again. So went across, played, and I ended on Catsy. And he turned around to Rennie, his tour manager, and said, for fuck's sake, I wanted to play this track. And Rennie was like, that's Chris. And then
fuck you.
So me and Eric started talking. Eric was like, get my number off Rennie. We've got things to discuss about. And then the next day they rang up and said, right, we want him to play Epic 5. And then it just went from fucking 0 to 100, like overnight. And I was like, what's going on? So, like,
what does it feel like? So, because I don't think that we can really convey to the listeners just how big of a fan you were of Eric Prydz.
Still am.
Like, wasn't it that you tell me a story, like after parties your mates would take the piss out of you for talking about how fanboy you were about Eric?
Yeah, completely. And back at those parties I started saying things to wind them up, like saying, oh yeah, I'll play with Eric Prydz, do you know what I mean? Like, just to get them to bite when they were pissed, you know what I mean? Like, shut up, and like, just like lads banter type of thing. But yeah, mate, I remember once we were at a party, I was sat there and I said, would anyone come to Creamfields? And everyone was like, yeah. So I sat and bought 4 Creamfields tickets. I said, right, you come to Creamfields tomorrow. Fucking, we're going to watch Prydz. That's all we're doing. We're just driving down.
I remember that. You just saw him and then...
Yeah, watching Prydz. We're just stood in his tent all day. Watched Jeremy Olander, Yoris Vaughan, Mia Jane Coles. Eric come on, finish, walked straight back to the car and drove straight back home. It was like the year that it got rained off on the Sunday, the whole campsite flooded. It was fucking pissing down there, freezing cold. We've got Ross Walton to drive, so he come down, had a few drinks, and then from about 5 or 6 in the night just stopped drinking and just ate hot dogs all the way till it was like 11 at night, and then we're like, right, we're off.
Bye, Ross.
Back home. Yeah, cheers, mate.
Time to drive back. Hope you had a good night.
He's like, oh. But yeah, mate, I mean, I would follow him everywhere I could. I would go and see him, and just constantly just listen to his music non-stop. Nothing else would ever.
Does it still now? So, I mean, how long have you been working in collaboration with Eric now?
It's just over 2 years.
Okay. When you get a text off him, because I think we were somewhere in Newcastle and you were like, I think he texted you.
Yeah.
What happens when you see the name Eric Prydz pop up on your phone? Do you still go like...
Yeah, you get like it's a weird butterfly feeling, and at one point I think fucking he's just going to go, right, I've had enough, you're off.
Oh, the joke's over, mate. Actually, your music's shit. See you later on.
Yeah, pretty much so. And then the others, it's just like, fucking hell,
happening.
Yeah, he's turned into one of my good friends type of thing on top of like working alongside him. So it's more often than not, it's just stupid banter between us.
Is it?
Yeah, because like, I mean, we've been touring a hell of a lot together this summer. So he'll like say, for instance, we've just been up to Sweden, which was amazing to see him in his hometown with all his own friends and everything like that. And
how big was the club?
Mate, we played this place called F12, and he's actually done a track called F12, and I've seen interviews with him, and he says, like, if the last club you would ever want to play, and he always says F12, so I was thinking this is going to be fucking mint, this club. I expect it to be small, like underground, things like that. Mate, it's steps outside of a building. That's what it is. That's the club. It's the strangest fucking thing I've ever been in my life. We had to come, so imagine like an old, like a government building.
Okay, yeah.
So we were inside. There's a bar inside and a little club downstairs, but the DJ booth in there is like at the end of the bar. So I'm trying to think of a club in town which would have had that kind of same setup. It's just a pair of decks at the end of a bar. So we were outside, and literally, honestly, mate, there was a window there and there's some stairs leading up, and you had to climb out, and you climbed out and you were in between people's legs who were dancing on a windowsill. You had to tap them out the way, climb out of there, edge along a windowsill and jump into the DJ booth to play. And there was just 2 sets of stairs coming up and 2 sets of stairs either side, and those bars at the top of the end.
How big is it?
Mate, I would have probably said, I thought it was about 200 people, right? But they were just like, nah, there was about 400 or 500 there. But I was like, there must have been a canny few stood on that windowsill. Mate, just people just standing there dancing on the stairs. It was
two-stepping, laterally two-stepping.
Mate, the atmosphere was unreal. So we got hammered there, and I flew back to London to play London, and then flew back to Gothenburg, met him in Gothenburg, and he just like drinking.
Kept going.
And so we played Gothenburg and had a great laugh there. And he woke up the next day and I think he was a bit hungover and he took a picture of the bar and he's going, can't stop, what's it? Can't stop, won't stop or something like that. And then he was like, oost. And then he took a picture of the bar. And I was just in hysterics and he just keeps on, because I was laughing at him, he keeps on doing it whenever we've been playing a few gigs. He'll take a picture and he's like, mate, I need a hair of the dog type of thing.
He gets to go again.
Yeah. And he's just cracks me up and he's a funny bastard, mate. He really is.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like to see someone that I care about get to live their dream out with, it's such a perfect storm. It seems to me. Like, I remember that in White Room's bootleg that you did a decade ago. And like, it was mint, but like to go from that, from like just fucking about with stems and remixing tracks to this is a real testament to the way you were. And again, to kind of, for DJs or artists that are listening, one of the things that I think I've noticed that defines what you've done is you've always stuck to your guns with regards to what route you've been going in. You haven't compromised on that. And then the other thing has been your work rate. Like, I remember an obsessive level of sort of work, even back in the day, like when you'd have gone to an after party and then woken up the next day, and if it was at yours, everyone would still be downstairs partying, but you'd be upstairs just cracking
still,
on making
still
tracks.
Exactly the same.
Is it?
Yeah, I try and do at least one track a week. And if I don't, or something with a track, if I don't actually do a full track,
Edit,
do you know what I mean?
or a remix.
Exactly, yeah. And if I don't, I really get at myself and like say to myself, like, you're throwing a huge opportunity away. You're being lazy type of thing, which I don't think is maybe the healthiest of attitudes to have, but it works for me and it gives us a
Gets
kick
the
up
tracks
the,
out.
Yeah, it gives us a kick up the arse. Some of them are shite and I'll just be like, all right, it's thrown in the bin, but I don't dwell on something for too long. I know a lot of producers out there and I get sent a hell of a lot of music and I reply to every single person who sends us a track, which is also very time consuming. And
we also have got quite a bit of time on.
Oh mate, that's what I say to them.
That.
Like I say, look, make sure it's a streamable link, because when I'm sat in an airport, I've got nothing else to do. I travel on my own, haven't got a tour manager, do everything on my own. So what else am I going to do? Do you know what I mean? Sit there and do fuck all. Do you know
Tinder,
what I mean? Tinder in the airport.
You could
an ambassador for Tinder or something.
You could have Tinder everywhere around, and then once you've been everywhere once, when you go back and it's like in your area again, you can see your matches. It'll be great.
I've got absolutely no idea how Tinder works, but I'll talk to you after this.
That's fine. We'll do a tutorial after this one.
But no, so I get sent a lot, mate, and I go through everything, and like I try and tell everyone, like, because a lot of them are, what would you change? What would you do? And I say, like, if I'm telling you what I would do, it then starts becoming my track. Do you know what I mean? You've got to believe in yourself and you've got to do what you do, and don't sit there, because what ends up happening, they just throw the kitchen sink at it, man, and it's just, you put too much into it, and it's that old saying, less is more. Definitely
a characterization of your music, I think.
Yeah.
And certainly that more melodic sound, which you're right, there was that period where you had a little bit more sort of driving stuff.
Yeah,
I guess you'd be able to say. But I knew there was always that bit in the back of your mind that was like you just wanted to get straight back into the melodies and those kind of like really ethereal, kind of epic, like hands.
What I'm trying to do at this moment is bridge them together. So I've got the drive, and because I find some progressive too floaty.
Yeah.
And it's just standing there, and I know for a fact it's not what people are wanting at 2 a.m. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like,
it's great for a pool party, 3 in the afternoon.
Exactly.
Or something,
like through the day and stuff like that. I love it. Drive around listening to it all the time. If I haven't got Heart 80s or something like that on,
is that what you listen to?
Mate, massive fan. Love it. But if I haven't got that on, but like when I'm in a club, I want to hear something like
makes you move.
Music. Aye, like definitely, mate, heads down. And the melodic side of it is what captures the emotion. So when people are stood there and the breakdowns, all this euphoric thing, you know what I mean? That's what, and you'll start seeing them with their eyes closed and all. It's like, that's what you're aiming to get. And that's why people leave and they'll remember those records type of thing. They're not going to remember something which has just got a sub boom bass, like a bass, like written in sub boom bass or a sub bass type of thing, with a 2-minute snare roll. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to remember that. Not at all, because everything just sounds the same. So you've got to kind of like make this really catchy melody or this huge breakdown,
and that's what gives the experience to people as well.
Mate,
yeah.
right? And that's what I want to hear when I'm on the dance floor. So I'm kind of
you play for yourself,
exactly,
quite selfishly, I suppose.
Proper.
It's just as well that you're not into like ska punk or something like that. You'd be playing some really terrible music. Out of all of the tracks that you've seen played live, what's the one that's made people get the most emotional? Yours or someone else's? Any memories that come to mind in particular of periods where people have fully lost their shit?
I dropped Spectra's remix of Mysteryland, which is on Kevin and Perry. And it's like an old trance track. It's stunning, mate. And this is like a proper techno version of it. And I've seen some people like, fuck, because I think it just reminds them of Kevin and Perry type of thing.
Okay.
That's always the one which hits home.
Opus must do bits live.
It does, mate. It really does. You see I've seen someone actually get down and get engaged at Creamfields.
Oh my God.
Fucking serious, mate. I was like, I don't know if it is that hard. But
this song's going to last 10 minutes, mate. That engagement's for the rest of your life.
I don't know, mate. Maceo does some crackers, do you know what I mean? Like that Under the Sheets, that always gets people going when you just drop that last track of the night.
Yeah.
But I think that's more aimed towards the couples, as if they like get home. It's like just like sex in a track, really, isn't it? It's unbelievable, that record, man.
Quality. So you mentioned that you don't have a tour manager.
No.
Actually, what's the reason for that?
I'm not in desperate need for one. Well, I haven't been until recently. And now the longer they are, the more you actually need that human interaction. Because
how much is a tour manager friend that's just there with you? Is that a significant part of their role, just to be contact?
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea of a tour manager is someone who they'll deal with your flights, they'll deal with any complications with the flights, delays, like cancellations, anything like that. They'll deal with the driver picking you up, they'll deal with all the hotels, like checking in, checking out, things like that. They'll deal with the promoters. So you are just fully in the music game. That's all you're just thinking of, about your set, what you're going to play and things like that. And even when you get to the club, your tour manager will go up to the decks and queue everything up with your USB. You don't tell them what track you're going to start with. That's what I've seen them do, type of thing. So that's what I'm guessing is their job. It's not something I've really looked into. I've got a bunch of friends who want to do it. Trusting them to do it is a completely
sounds like a
question.
good. I was going to say, I know some of your friends, mate, and
exactly.
I don't know if they'd be there.
One of the whole issues is I don't know how much I would trust us two together. Do you know what I mean?
So by not having them there, you're insulating yourself.
I would be employing like someone to come party with us. That's what I would essentially be doing. Because none of them are like massively clued up in the music world, which is fair enough. I don't expect them to be. It would be the company that I'm paying for. Now, that's when you're asking how much, that is just something between you and them. I guess you can set up and give them a salary, and out of that, them have got to get their own travel, or you give them a certain amount per tour and you just employ them per tours. I think there's a lot of different ways you can work with a tour manager. I've seen people just use them for certain areas of the world. Like Patrick's got Morgan Bennett. And I think he actually started off just like the long ones, the ones over in America, but by all accounts, I'm sure he's doing the lot of them with them now. You've got to be with someone who you get on with, because you're basically living in each other's pockets apart from when you're in the hotel room. Now, that's another reason why I won't want to sit in a hotel room on my own. It's like a real issue of going out and getting out. And if you've been partying and you've been drinking and you've got late nights, it becomes harder to leave the room, even if it's just to go to the gym or downstairs to the restaurant.
Why?
So it's just kind of, I've got this thing, and I've always had it where it's like a self-confidence thing, which is quite strange in the job that I do. But you think that everyone's staring at you, and like you're sitting down on your own and you think that everyone's talking about you, and you go into the gym on your own and you think, so you go out shopping and things like that. So if it gets to a point where I'm not feeling mentally strong, I'll just use like room service and just sit in the room. And
you can be insulated.
Yeah. And then once you've done that for 2 days and you're just locked in the like essentially those walls, and then you're going through security in an airport and onto a plane and then back to another hotel, and then the only time you're leaving it is to go and get pissed while you're DJing type of thing, it then becomes a really weird, like like situation type of thing. And if you were with someone, you'd be like, oh, well, let's go out and we'll go to the shops, or we'll go out for some food or something like that. And you've got each other to vibe off, and you don't realise your surroundings as much.
One thing I've been thinking of recently, so I spend a lot of time on my own as well.
Yeah.
And I think that as humans, we desire conversation. We desire a dialogue with an interaction with other people, other things. And one of the things that I've thought of recently is, if you're not around other people, I think the dialogue begins to just continue inside of your own head.
Oh, yeah.
And I certainly feel when I spend too much time in solitude that inner dialogue starts to turn up. Like the loudness starts to turn up a little bit. Completely.
I mean, I've always talked to myself, to be honest with you, mate. But I know exactly what you mean. I live alone. I travel alone. So it is a lonely life out there. And I don't think people realise that side of it, because they'll just look on and they'll think, oh, he's flying around the world. He gets to see everywhere. You see nothing, because you get in somewhere and you'll get some food. You'll try and get an hour's sleep because you know you're going to be DJing till 4 or 5 in the morning. More than likely onto an after party and DJing there till 9, 10 in the morning. Then you think, shit, I've got a flight in an hour or two. So you've got to get back to the hotel, pack your suitcase straight on. So no sleep. You'll grab an hour on the flight. You'll get into somewhere. You'll meet the promoter. You'll organise him. You'll get another hour in bed. You've got to get up. You sort your music, and then you're on to the next one. And when that's 4 or 5 days in a row, mate, it's hard to keep control of your mind and your thoughts and stuff like that. And it's just, it can get away from you, but it's not all as glamorous as everyone thinks it is. Do you know what I mean? But there'll be people out there who'll be like, well, you don't need to go to an after party. My mum says that all the time. You don't need to go there. You don't need to. But when you're in there and the adrenaline's rushing and you've had such a good gig, and you look out and so many people have bought a ticket to come and see you, and they want to meet you and they want to come and party with you and they want to get to know you, and you get interested inside of their lives and what it's like where you are, you know, like in Argentina or Chile or Brazil or Colombia or whatever like that. It's a completely different way of life down there, and it is interesting to see how they go on. And especially down that side of the world, like music is their release from their life type of thing. You know what I mean? They're coming to thousands to gigs and everything's sold out, and they're just they're the maddest crowd in the world. It's unbelievable down there. Honestly, like, I keep on coming back and convincing myself that I'm going to end up buying somewhere in Argentina and just having a house down there. But when you get there and you're playing in the winter down there, you think, fucking hell, it's absolutely freezing down here.
Well, you'd be used to it from being up here.
Yeah. Oh, aye.
So you've touched on there the fact that DJing's maybe not as glamorous as everyone thinks. It's maybe not quite as rosy. Obviously, was it last year that we had Tim Berg, Avicii, passed away? Yeah. Was it the year before?
Last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's been his 1 year anniversary this year. Or was it his 2? I don't know. It was last year, I'm sure. Because like my tour, well, not tour manager, my itinerary guy, Eric's tour manager, Rennie, he's worked with Tim in the past, and I know Eric's was good friends with him and stuff like that, and I'm sure I ran them last year, it was, to see if them had seen type of thing. So yeah.
I think when people saw the Avicii aftermath, one of the main things that came out was the same one as when Robin Williams passed away.
Yeah.
Which is, you have someone who appears to have everything going on, they have their shit together, they have a life that most people dream of, etc., etc. But look, this is what can happen. And as tragic as it is, one thing that I do think is a positive that can be taken from those situations is that normal people who deal with levels of anxiety or depression or dark days and dark thoughts, they get recentered on the fact, well, hang on, if this guy who's a world famous DJ who's making millions, selling millions of records, known around the world, all this stuff, if he can feel depressed in his situation, in that life, it makes you feel more justified a little bit in the way that you feel. So do you think in the DJ community that depression and mental health is something that should be looked after a little bit more?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that much on the matter, and I've never watched the whole documentary, but by all accounts, Tim's manager was meant to be a bit of a pushy guy.
I've never seen it.
Neither have I, mate. Just what I've seen and stuff like that. So I can't really comment on that, but I do think the whole mental health, and I do think it's now like coming to like the front of things. You see a lot of articles. I mean, DJ Mag, Mix Mag have done a lot of spreads on the whole mental health issues within the industry. I know Luciano was really bad. Murillo was really bad. I mean, even at the start of the year, wasn't that I'd hit some sort of depression or anything like that, but I felt like I was losing my mind because I'd came back from tour and I just couldn't adjust back to normality. It wasn't like normal life. I just couldn't get around the jet lag. And I do suffer quite bad with it. So you're talking 3-4 days with absolutely no sleep whatsoever. And I remember I was sat there watching like the shopping channel because that's all that's on at 5 a.m. And so I'm sat there and there's just different things coming on. And I'm sat going, the gel that I use on my hair is shit. Right? So I'm like, right, okay. And I was sat ordering things off eBay that are popping up like different like fucking feather dusters and all that for the house, right? And honestly, right, I'll go through it all. And I went out of the house because my gel was shit, right? And I went to Asda. This is at like 5 a.m. Sat on the floor in Asda in the hair product aisle, trying out every foot. And honestly, mate, my hair was claggy as fuck, right? And so then I fucking got up, walked off, didn't know why I was there, went and picked up 84 dishwasher tablets and a massive, like, big bit of broccoli and checked out, right? So if any of the staff had been watching me, they must have thought, he is out his mind, right? So I got out and I was like, what the fuck am I doing with this? So I got home, I was telling, and all the lads were like in hysterics. I started ordering dream catchers and stuff like that. I'm like, not into that shit whatsoever. And I remember speaking with one of the lads, Mally, and you know when you order off eBay, it comes onto your calendar on your iPhone, all the products which are coming, and he scrolled down, there was over 100 stuff on order coming, and honestly, mate, like my porch area in my house was just full of stuff getting posted through from eBay, and I was like, what the fuck am I ordering here? I was ordering like t-shirts and stuff, like that was the most normal stuff, but I must have just been guessing sizes because they were like proper boob tubes and everything like that. It was mad. So I was like starting to lose it a bit, and I was going on like nighttime drives, and like this voice in my head started coming more and more, and it was kind of like the only way you're going to go to sleep is by smashing your car into that lorry across there or things like that. And that's when I started thinking, fucking hell, like there's something wrong. So I spoke to my mum, went to the doctors, and the doctors had said, like, look, what's kind of the sleep deprivation is kind of making you go a bit delusional type of thing. So they put me on some sleeping tablets, which actually had an antidepressant built into it. Okay. And that makes you crash before it brings you back up. So I was feeling lows up, and then I had like some antipsychotic drug as well to try and condense the voices. And I was on them for a couple of months, and then I remember I was in Miami in March, and you're still trying to take them when you're on tour because your body's kind of become used to them. And on tour, you hit that many different time zones, like you don't know if you've taken one day or not type of thing. And I just remember sat in Miami, and I was like, I don't need them whatsoever. And I've just trained my mind to, look, you're jet lagged, you know what I mean? Just sit and deal with it. Get some sleep when you can sleep. And like Rennie and all them coached me through that. You've got to learn to sleep when your body's telling you to sleep type of thing. If you're up all night, then you're up all night. You don't, because you know what it's like if you can't sleep and you're sitting there and you're telling yourself, oh, I've only got an hour before I start work. You're not going to sleep in that hour because you're going to tell yourself for that whole hour that you've got to go to sleep in the hour. And then like you're shutting your eyes and you're like, oh, I'm going to sleep in for work. And it all just gets on top of you. But on top of that, in the DJ world, I mean, everyone out there knows how much drugs is kicking about in the DJ world and how many DJs are actually involved in it and stuff like that. And if that's what they want to do, then let them do it type of thing. But of course, that whole come down area is going to mess with people's mind. Alcohol's a depressant as it is. There's so much free alcohol when you DJ at every single party, whether even you're playing them or not. You know what I mean? I could go and see a DJ, for instance, like on Saturday, Denny's playing Cosmic. I'm already speaking on on Twitter earlier on. I might pop down and see him. Ben Nicky's up next week. I don't even like. I'm not into his music. Not that I don't like it. It's just not my thing. He's already right. We're going to get absolutely hammered and stuff like that.
He's got a reputation.
Yeah. Oh, he loves it, mate. He's a great kid. But like, you'll go to their gigs and it's all free alcohol there, so you're going to guzzle it all because it's free. You know what I mean? So once it gets on that and then you're rolling into days, your mind just starts going, and it's good to see that people are picking up on the fact that these young kids are involved in the world and they're thrust from basically nothing into playing in millions across the year. You know what I mean? With loads of money, loads of free things, and they just get flown around. And of course that they're going to get involved in this world that is essentially going to really mess with their heads type of thing. You know what I mean? And even going to a gig and playing in front of, even if you play in front of a few hundred people, going back to your hotel room on your own, you crash, mate, like massively.
Why?
Because you've been so high, everyone's been there loving it, you're doing your thing, you're loving the music that you're playing, everyone out there's really enjoying it, like you leave so happy that you want to sit there and talk about it, and then you go back to a lonely hotel room and it's just pitch black with no music on, and it takes a while. I mean, even off just working in bars, people who work behind the bar will take an hour or two to shut down when they get in if the music's been blasting all night. Just the needs that time for the brain to switch off. So when you've been like the one who's creating that atmosphere, you're so happy, but then you've got no one to talk about it, and you're just like, oh, I'm back on my own again. You know what I mean? And then you've got to pick yourself up to go out the next day to be like, oh, this is going to be amazing. And it's just constant peaks and troughs, and it's just hard to keep on top of at times, you know what I mean? And I think like the whole Luciano thing, he was saying that he got massively involved in drugs and things like that. And that's probably the main antagonist of it all. But yeah, mate, I'm glad to see that it is like really, like there's a lot of attention getting paid on it. But I don't think it's just needs to be spoke about within the DJ world. I think it's the world over type of thing. People need to understand that this is it's a major thing going on in everybody. Do you know what I mean?
Well, even though other people might not be doing flights around the world and playing a DJ gig and then coming back to be on their own, there's people who might live with a partner that the relationship's degenerating, or they might be in a young person who doesn't get on with their parents or has a dysfunctional household, or someone who does live on their own. The same mechanism that you're talking about, which is impacting on DJs, which is maybe being catalyzed by higher highs and then some substances and other things as well. It's that same mechanism. It's that same module in the back of our minds. Humans desire connection, want health, wealth, and happiness. And without all of those things working in harmony, you end up with a dysfunctional human.
Oh, without a doubt, mate. And I speak to a lot of people, and all like, you know, like some of the lads and things like that, and they'll go like, oh, you've got a mint life and I'm in an unhappy job and stuff like that. And I try and encourage them, just like, if you are unhappy in life, then leave it. Do you know what I mean? You can't put a price on happiness. So if you're like, not leave life, like leave your job type of thing or something like that, you know, like you've got to figure out what it is bringing you down, whether it's a relationship that you're in, your job or whatever like that, the area that you're living in. Do you know what I mean? It can all be sorted if you just sit there and kind of figure out a plan of what you're going to do. But a lot of people just, they don't want to like challenge it. I mean, that's talking from experience from my friends type of thing. They just want to, and they'd rather sit back and accept what's going on. And I'm just like, you're going to look back and regret it. Do you know what I mean? You really are. But I mean, there's nothing that can't be solved. And I'm a true believer in that. Like if they come and speak to me and things like that, you know, like we can sit there and we can talk about it and we can get through everything that is causing an issue with them. And, you know, like a lot of it is just like the jobs, the lives and things like that. But I also tell them that what you're looking at when I'm posting things on Instagram, Twitter or whatever like that is a load of fucking shit. Do you know what I mean? It's to give off that you are living this amazing life. And you're not. And I'm like on the phone to you all the time saying I'm bored out my mind in, like, as I say, Colombia or Orlando or LA or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Waiting to be picked up. You know, I'm sat here on my own type of thing. It's not like, look at me, I'm playing in front of this amount of people type of thing. That's just 2 hours of that one day type of thing.
Never a selfie of you on your own in the hotel room in the dark, right?
You're not getting a selfie of me anywhere, mate.
Yeah, true, you're not a selfie guy. Yeah.
But like and I think it's a major thing with the whole of society. They do believe that what these people are posting on social media is their actual life, and it's not.
Well, the problem is that there's an asymmetry between what we see of other people and what we know of ourselves, right? So I get to see the best of everybody else's life while I watch mine unfold from a front row seat that gets to see all of my blunders.
Yeah.
All of them. That time that you tried to chat up the waitress and you looked silly, and that time that you didn't think that you looked very cool when you stepped out of the door, or that time where you didn't feel very confident when whatever. Like all of those things, everybody that is listening has a front row seat to. You watch it through your own eyes, whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
However, everybody else, you get this curated, very polished, very embellished social media feed. And the problem is that we forget that everybody else is just as idiotic and just as stupid and just as insecure as we are.
Yeah.
Everybody is. Everyone, as Alain de Botton calls it, everybody is eternally flawed.
Yeah.
And that is human nature. It is the beautiful part of human nature, because it is the one thing that makes us all the same.
Yeah.
It's the fact that all of us are fairly messed up in one way or another. We all have our demons that we need to bear. Some people have some that are really bad, and some people, fortunately haven't. But everyone should be sympathetic and empathetic to the rest of humanity, because we're all carrying these sorts of curses, right?
Fully agree. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's interesting to hear the stories of someone who is in this world, and from the outside looking in, obviously it's such a aspiration. This is what thousands, probably tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of DJs around the world. Yeah. That's what they want. They want that life on the road.
Yeah, of course.
But if they saw the reality of what it actually consists of, is that what they want?
I always say, to a lot of the lads, that there's no chance that them could do it. A couple of them have came away for a weekend and turned around and said, there's absolutely no chance I could do your job. None whatsoever. You tell them the routing, and you tell them, as I was saying earlier, when I flew from Colombia and I got up on the Thursday morning, I knew from the Thursday morning that I wasn't getting to bed until I got asleep at night in a proper bed. When I say getting to bed, obviously you're picking up a couple of hours on a 6-hour flight around South America, but you weren't getting to bed properly overnight until the Monday night in Ibiza. So I know them are behind time, but that's from the Thursday morning, stepping out of bed. That was the last time you were sleeping overnight in a bed, comfortable, until the Monday night. And you tell that to your mates, and they're just like, no chance. You can keep your job, mate.
I need my 9 hours.
Yeah, exactly, mate. So, people don't see that. People just honestly just see you playing in front of X amount of people, a track that you've released doing well or whatever like that. And they look at that side of things, you know what I mean? And a lot of people, and I don't even like the word, it's they look at the fame side of things, do you know what I mean? And I don't like it, because this isn't what, that's not what I do the job for. I don't class myself as famous, never once thought I am, and never ever will type of thing. I'm a daft lad from Newcastle who's been lucky enough to follow his dream and is living out his dream type of thing, and does a job that he wants to do. And I keep telling myself that, because 99% of the population doesn't get to do that. You know what I mean? They're stuck in a job that they don't want to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I've just been lucky enough to do what I want to do. And it's allowing me to see the world. It's allowing me to do this. But the people who want to do that don't actually understand the hard work that goes into it. My nephew, he's really talented when it comes to music. And he's like, I want to do this, and I've said, I'll teach you how to DJ, it's not a problem, mate, do you know what I mean? But the part that you can't teach is being strong to make sure you get up for the flight in the morning, to make sure you're not missing it, to make sure that you are hitting every single gig and smashing them type of thing, to make sure you are on point to everyone, you're not coming across as ignorant or arrogant or anything like that, when really it is you're just a bit tired or you're a bit down or something like that, because you've been away from your family and friends for the past 6 weeks type of thing, and no one sees that side of it. And I don't think you can teach people that either. The only thing that you can actually do is probably take them on tour with people, which is just going to cost money, and I'm fucking greedy with money, so I'm not paying.
Yeah. Do you think that there is a balanced way to do DJ tour life? Do you think
without a doubt
there is?
Yeah.
So it's not a lost cause?
Nah.
Okay.
Not at all. I know a lot of DJs. Patrick goes teetotal for a while. Camel Fat go teetotal for a while. Eric goes teetotal for a while. Luciano does. Murillo, like they're all. And I think what you need is maybe that one time where you just completely are like ran down into the ground.
Do you think that your hair products and broccoli story might be that?
Maybe, but it hasn't
gets
stopped
worse than that.
Yeah.
If there's a lower low than sat in the middle of Asda with broccoli and hair products, I fear for you.
And the thing is though, I don't know if I could ever go teetotal. Not because I love the drink too much. Yeah. I need drink to get
in the vibe.
Yeah, not to get on stage, to get in that booth.
Okay.
I need a drink because I do suffer really badly with nerves. So I need that. And it's a bit of Dutch courage. Like sometimes I've played gigs and like I'm being sick like seconds before going on stage type of thing because of the nerves are too much. And if you watch, like there's anyone who's close to me like will understand what I'm saying. If you could see my hand, I'm like that trying to put the USB in. And then I'll stand there and I'll cough. I'll never ever get a cough. I don't smoke, never had a cigarette in my life. So like for me to have a cough or anything like that, I've got to have a cold or a flu, which I only get them after tours type of thing. So I'm stood there and I start coughing mid-gig and things like that. It's because I'm nervous. And you'll see us looking around and like my ex-girlfriend was saying that she would always look. And she said, I knew when you would get nervous, I knew when you started to panic because you look around the crowd and I look for someone who I know just to look back and give me some sort of like reassurance. And I was always looking for her. She said I used to like be like, he needs to see us. So there she was. And she was just a little dot like that, like waving about to see us type of thing. And she was right, yeah, you do need that. And that's why I don't think I could ever stop fully drinking. But yeah, there is that area where you can just drink moderately.
There's a
like,
balance.
Yeah, maybe have a month off and a few weeks on type of thing. Time off is perfect. It's perfect. I mean, nearly every DJ produces now, so they need that time off to write the music. In that time off, like what I do is hammer the gym, so I get in a routine. I find the gym is great for my mentality and it's great for the productivity type of thing. And it just makes me, I don't know, you'll know about it a lot more than me. It releases all the endorphins and stuff like that. And it just makes me feel really good about myself type of thing. Dragging yourself there is the hardest thing. Yeah. I mean, at the start of this week, it's been my first week in 6 weeks. And I was just like, I don't want to go. But luckily enough, I train with one of my best mates. And so we go and he was like, just come along. Even if it's just for something light, it'll get you back in the routine of it. And I'm just fully in the routine type of thing now. So when you're off, if you do that, you eat well. If you constantly eat shit, it's going to bring you down type of thing and you're still in that rut as such. And then you just be the healthiest version that you can be and you go away on tour. And I mean, if I run myself into the ground, I run myself into the ground. Sven Vath's like, by all accounts, I've never met Sven, but he's meant to like hammer it for 11 months. And then for 1 month or 2 months at the start of the year, goes away to Switzerland to a retreat. Sits on a drip.
Transfusion or something. An entire blood transfusion and gets all his blood cleaned.
I would say Solomon does it because that bloke is a machine.
Is he a savage?
Mate.
Who's hardest partier in all the DJing? Other than Cristoph.
I've just been laughing with Dave from Camel Fat just before I came in here about Barlow James Barlow from Solitude.
Okay.
He hits it hard. He's just funny as hell. It almost looks like Paul Fisher does, but
oh my god,
he's switched on, mate.
He's a clever guy.
He's switched on.
Anyone who is not following Fisher on Instagram or Snapchat, I don't know if he does Snapchat as well. His Instagram stories
crease me.
Oh my god.
But I would probably say people that hit it hard. Solomon has to, man.
Why?
Mate, he goes forever at after parties. Not seen that video of him DJing on someone's ironing board in the middle of a kitchen in Melbourne?
No.
Mate, he's there for like 11 or 12 hours, man.
On this ironing board?
Aye, mate. Like, it's just mental, man. Like,
what about those like Italian DJs like Danny Tonaglia and people like that, like that play like 15
like monster sets? I'm sure
Capriati's
Capriati's just broke the record for it over in Romania. I think it was at that Sunrise Festival.
Right. He's played some savage days-long set or something.
36 or something. Or was it 28 or something like that? Something like for a solo set, something ridiculous.
What a savage.
But by all accounts, he's stood there and he's eating pasta while he's DJing. Just eating on. And I know like when Martinez Brothers and all that, them do a massive monster thing in Miami every year. And them get pizza delivered to the club and stuff like that. So they're stood in the DJ booth eating pizza and stuff like that.
That's
Which
awesome.
is good crack, I think. Like, yeah, it's good. But I don't know. I'm like really into all that. Like I follow like people who do massive long sets because I know you've been back at mine. I've probably broke some of them. Some of them records just sat in my studio DJing until Sunday from the Friday or something like that. But I just don't realise what day it is when I shut the curtains.
Yeah,
I'm all right.
You're just cracking on.
Yeah.
Interesting what you said about the fact that the balance that you can get comes from some very basic things, right? So you're talking about making sure your sleep's right, your nutrition, having some sort of exercise, having some sort of routine, having some sort of sleep and wake cycle.
Yeah.
And I was discussing this in Dusseldorf yesterday with a big group of people in a sales floor, and they've got this really highly charged sales floor, very, very high pressure. A lot of them are saying they struggle to turn off when they go home. And downstream from that, some of them were maybe feeling a little bit down and they had some twinges of depression and anxiety and stuff like that. And I was like, you would be so surprised to find out how the strongest, most capable people on the planet can get absolutely annihilated by bad diet, messed up sleep and not enough sunlight.
Yeah.
It's not, I think, because of the way that social media, that mental health originally was a little bit stigmatized. Now there is this "it's okay to talk" campaign and stuff like that, which is going on, which half of me likes. Half of me likes the fact that there is a social campaign which encourages people to openly discuss mental health problems. The other half of me feels like campaigns like that draw attention to it in a way which still highlights that it is a stigma. Yeah. Like that by saying it's okay to talk, it's like, no, just talk. Like, I ask you what you had for breakfast. You don't think, oh, should I talk about what I actually had for breakfast or should I say that I had something else? Yeah. Part of, and obviously it's a lot more difficult for us to mandate the fact that, like, how do you say everybody just be cool with the fact that some people have down like periods where they feel a bit sad? That's quite difficult to actually advertise, right? Yeah. So the "it's okay to talk" thing, I do get and I do make sense. But if the strongest people, the best performers on the planet can get taken down by poor food, poor sleep, poor training, poor nutrition, of course you can as well. And what happens is you manage to simulate or bring on some sort of psychosis through jet lag and some South American food and a bit of DJing, like and some beers. Like, if that's happening to you, like, look at someone who's not managed to get themselves out of bed or have a good sleep and wake cycle for a couple of months, and doesn't have any friends, doesn't have any real sort of connection and things like that. Like, of course that's going to take them down. Of course, mate. But the thing that I think is liberating about this discussion, and there's a great book which is called, it's by a guy called Johan Hari, called Lost Connections. Right. And Johan's going to come on eventually. I've said this to the listeners at home. I have said this for 18 months, but I promise you I'm going to get him. He is still in my Instagram inbox. Lost Connections, and he identifies a whole bunch of different causes of depression, right, that are environmental, not biological. And in those, so many of them are fixable. It's like, make sure that you get some sunlight, make sure that you see some nature, make sure that you've got someone to talk to, make sure you've got some work that's meaningful, that you eat right, that you deal with any childhood trauma. And you're like, none of these, I thought it was this problem that was mine to bear, that it's like this very unique curse that was bestowed on me, and it's this problem which only I have. And then you look back and you're like, hang on a second. I had fast food for a week and I got 4 hours sleep at a time maximum. Yeah. Might have been that. Yeah. Might not have been, I'm weird, there's something dysfunctional or wrong with me. It might just be that I'm not giving myself the foundation to then have a normal, productive, functional life off the top of. Yeah. And it sounds like DJing on the road is a little bit like the perfect storm. Yeah. To create that. Mate. Completely, mate. It really, really is. Really is. I mean, as I say, travelling on your own is not going to help whatsoever.
You know what I mean? Like, just going through security day after day in airports. You're like,
you're sick of it?
Oh my God, it's just like...
Do you ever sometimes think that you might not go through the scanner so that they'll do a rectal exam just so you get a bit of human contact?
I don't know. I think I've just got a face which sends us through anyway. You know what I mean? It's I've got a waiver on my visa for America, so I've got to go through into secondary immigration there. It takes ages getting into the country, and then you sat there, and they're all dead sound, they're all really sound. And then some of them want to go through your suitcase, so they pull everything out. Then they just leave it for you to pack it. And it's kind of like, if that person isn't friendly, whether you're going through security or through secondary immigration, it pisses you off from day one. Do you know what I mean?
Set that tone.
But look, and that can really aid to the way you're feeling and things like that. Then you'll get on a plane and the plane food will be shit. You'll sit there and you're getting through turbulence and your whole day is just like, this is just a fucking waste of time. Yeah.
Do you always fly in like good class? Like
the long distance ones I do,
nice class.
Yeah, long distance. And we do try and get for the shorter ones to get in it if there isn't like a business class area as such. We do try and get like emergency exit just because I've got a bad lower back. One of my good friends
bet you have after been on planes all this much.
One of my good friends is a chiropractor, just basically around the corner, and he's helped a lot. But he says I need to work on it a lot. But because you're not here for a good length of time, it's pretty hard because every work that I'm doing is just resetting itself.
Undone.
Yeah, so he's kind of like, you need to get as much space. I mean, if you think about it, you stood bending over decks.
DJ decks.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a guy, the listeners will know, Dr. Stuart McGill, who's the world's leading expert on back pain.
Right.
I went to go see him in Canada. He's the guy that fixed George St. Pierre for the UFC. He's NFL, NHL, NBA, MMA, everything. Best guys on the planet.
Yeah.
I'll put you in touch. You'd love to work with him. He's a hero.
Yeah, nice one.
But these sort of little physiological, psychological effects, and you're like, you're just going on a plane for a bit. It's like, well, yeah, fine. Like that's great in a normal person's world, like mine, where yesterday I went to Dusseldorf and back in a day, which is the only thing, weirdly enough, the day before we do this, the only thing that I can actually kind of start to link in with what you do. Yeah. So it's 4 flights, but they were 45 minutes each. Yeah. And there was a little bit of moving around and going through connections and stuff like that. And even that, I was like, this is fucking shit. Yeah. Have you got like airplane hacks, or like have you got your favourite way of going through airports, or have you got your favourite areas in airports that you always go to?
Luckily enough for you flying like that much, you do get cards for all the lounges. Like my Amex card, which is a business card, can get us in a lot of priority lounges. I'm a gold member in BA, so that can get us in any BA lounge which is kicking around.
Who's collecting your air miles? You?
Somewhere. I've got them all on the BA app somewhere. And then
you'll be able to buy a house.
I honestly do not understand how they work.
I mean, neither.
I don't. Honestly, my brother-in-law, he's got loads on BA, and he's like, oh yeah, I got that hotel on, or I got that flight on the miles. And I'm like, I don't understand it. Just same with the Amex
You're circumnavigating the globe on a monthly basis.
So what they were saying about the Amex ones is I've got to call up and say, look, so kind of if I was to take someone, say on the next long tour, I could like ring Amex and say, can you give me a price using me points type of thing on this flight, on these flights type of thing, and see what can come up. But I really don't know how it all works, mate. I really don't, and I'm not interested in finding out. In all honesty,
so you've managed to make flying as comfortable as you can, though. I'm going to guess
my sister told us about this game on iPhones. It's called Woodblock or something like that. It's kind of like Tetris, but like harder. And it winds me up something rotten. So I'm sat there, and before I know it, I'm like 3 hours deep into a flight, and I'm just playing this game constantly. The best, you've got to like really charge your phone, or I've got like a carry-on case which has got it like one of them like battery like built into it type thing, which you can take out like the lithium battery. So I'll sit and have that fully charged and my phone fully charged and go on the plane.
Nailed Woodstock or whatever it's called.
And there's that Strike Hero as well, which is kind of like you're a footballer and you've just got to like draw the path of the ball on the feet. And I was just sitting there obsessed with them, mate. I'll get in there like for 4 or 5 hours. If you're flying around America, a lot of the planes have got Wi-Fi on, or like TVs, and the selection's brilliant. Really is across there.
You never tempted to try and produce on the plane?
I do a lot if I've got good space, but a lot of the time, if you're in the business area, it's sound. You know what I mean? You've got your own area to sit and put the laptop on. But if you're putting it on the table in front of you, because if you've got it on your lap, you're looking like that, your neck's pulling, it's killing you straight away. So you'll put it on the table, and no matter who you are, the person in front of you must get a sixth sense to put the seat back as soon as you put a laptop on there. Both puts it back, nearly slams it down. So you're trying to produce like that. So I do, when I'm on the road, I do more of it in a hotel room than I do on the plane. And I'll just sit and watch Modern Family. Netflix is now a thing where you can sit and watch it on there. So I'm trying to get into that Mindhunter and stuff like that on there.
Good.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
New series of Top Boys coming out at the moment as well.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've never watched any of them, but it's been good. I've just been told one, and I've just watched the first episode. This is on the BBC One. It's called, it's about the soldier who killed someone, like a Taliban.
Okay.
And he got put in jail for it because he said it was like in cold blood, but then he's just been let out, and I've just watched the first one. And
real story?
No. And he's kind of just got with his barrister, and then his barrister's being assaulted, and the police are saying it looks like a really cool story. I can't remember what it's called. Looks like a really, really good one. Like another one where you've got to think.
If you end up finding, I don't know, like become like a Star Trek fan, if there's ever a day, I think you're fairly safe from this being the case. But if you ever got really into sci-fi and you didn't speak to anyone except for DJ for like a couple of weeks, you'd turn into like a proper Comic-Con, like Star Trek Trekkie or something. I'd be worried.
Honestly, that...
Come back and think you were a Klingon.
Yeah. That Stranger Things are one that gets me, man.
Oh, yeah.
I've like finished the 3rd series. It took me a while to get through it with all the travelling. The first 2 series I watched like within a day type of thing. I watched the first one just all off. The second one, as soon as that got released, I sat in. And I remember we had me and my ex-girlfriend was sat there, and this Irish lad had flown across to watch me play, I think it was Sasha, and he came on his own, and he tweeted saying that he's across on his own. I was like, I'm not letting you stay in this, like, my city on your own. So I drove to his hotel, picked him up, took him out for food with me and the promoters and all that beforehand. He sat there like this, had him backstage with all the lads, took him back to mine for an after party, then just said, you can stay here. So he sat up and stuff like that, and then the next day he went to get on the flight. I was like, get the later one. And we sat and watched Stranger Things, got like Dominoes in, and he was just sat there like that all through the day. Then I ran him up to the airport, and he's became like a really good friend. He does a lot of work for my socials and that now.
What an unbelievable story.
So yeah, he's a lovely kid. I was just like, you're not sitting in Newcastle on your own, mate. If you've flown over on your own, I'm going to make sure you have your best time here. But yeah, it took me a while to get through the 3rd series, but as soon as it finished, I just went straight to the studio and wrote 3 tracks just like that.
Did you?
The inspiration it gives me is just really strange.
Stranger Things quite sort of spooky, and it's
very
soundscape.
I love all that, but it's the tension in those scenes with Eleven in that the mind flare thing, and I just sit there and you can just create like some mad stuff in your head. And I'm like, right, I know exactly what I'm going to go and do here. And you get all those darker sounds and stuff like that, and then off you go.
Have you got any restriction now? So obviously, one of the things, first off, I don't know what I would want to make, but secondly, if I did, I couldn't make it.
Right.
Is there any restriction now from what is in your mind to what comes out of the speakers or what goes into the stats? So you can make whatever the sound is you want.
We've actually been out and like left on a night out, or for instance, we've all went back and all the lads are like, oh, we'll write something in the studio. And I'm like, I'm sick of writing like house techno vibes, do you know what I mean? I want to, I'll write something different. And I said to one of the kids, I was just like, what's big at the minute? And one of the lads who was out with was like, oh, Drake. So I had to listen to one of Drake's tracks, and I was just like, right, give us 10 minutes, and sat there and had a drum loop straight away going. And I'm like, and I was just like, the bass lines are piss easy. Sat like that, and I had this loop going of like, and we're like, it's so fucking...
You just dissected Drake's tracks.
And someone was like, well, so you go on and you can buy like silly little hip-hop vocals and things like that off. So I had it, and we've like created this 3.5 minute hip-hop track. Then we've all got it in the cars and stuff like that. I'll sit there and I'll write like down-tempo stuff. So I remember I put something on my Facebook a while ago, and there's a producer from down Liverpool. He popped up and said, "There's a pop producer dying to get out of you. I'm telling you, mate." It's maybe an angle which I might look at in the future.
I was going to say, would you ever be interested in doing something like that? Or I remember, I can't remember the film, but Deadmau5 did the entire soundtrack for a film only within the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good friends with Dirty South, if you remember him, Australian guy.
Unbelievable.
He's from Eastern Europe somewhere, but he lives in Australia now, in Melbourne, and he scores a lot of films. Do you know what I mean? I think there's a lot of
sound engineering and stuff like that.
And he'll just write it from start to finish, all the score for films and stuff.
Would that be something maybe longer term?
Fucking serious money in it, isn't there?
I bet there is.
Yeah.
There's no On the Road either.
Nah,
You'd be bored as hell, wouldn't you?
I'd be just sick. I'll probably just throw the project. I'll be like, I can't do it.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I need to be on an aeroplane.
Take your money back. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, what's next? What's happening? What's the rest of 2019 got in store for you?
So for the next couple of weeks, I'll be sat in the studio, probably catching up with friends when I can get them out, family and stuff like that. Probably just hitting a few bars in town. And then, as I say, just hammering the studio. I want to get, when's my next gig? Beginning of October. That gives me I want to get maybe 4 or 5 tracks ready for the beginning of October. I've got 2 gigs down in Wales. So I want to get about 4 or 5 tracks ready for them to test out. Then I've got another 2 weeks off, which is while ADE's on. Never ever go that. It's just...
Have you ever been?
Yeah, loads.
Okay.
It's always just too mad. Like, just really
too mad for you? Says a lot, that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just, I just find it mad. And then I go across to America, as I say, then come straight back, do Manchester, then straight on to India, then to New Zealand, Australia, then back and do Leeds, Liverpool, and then come back home. And that takes me to the beginning of December. So I'm going to have to get a lot of music prepared for them, even if it's just ideas ready to pencil to finish on the road or whatever like that. I'll start a lot on the road and I'll finish that again through December.
Where are you for New Year? People want to see you play this New Year. Have you released it yet?
I haven't released it, so all I'm saying is America. Yeah. And then, I'm across there for then. And then the phone call before we started off, Renee was basically saying that I'm across there for New Year, then I come back, then I'm across to Dominican Republic to do this thing across America called Holy Ship.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's a huge cruise liner festival.
Yeah, and now they've changed it to Go Ship, and they've changed it to Go Ship Wrecked or Holy Ship Wrecked. So now actually on land, which is a 5-day party in an all-inclusive resort in Dominican Republic. And they're sending the likes of me, Scream, and people like that.
So, do you think you'll come back? What if we lose you?
I'll probably get a job behind the bar.
I was going to say, what if you're stuck in the Dominican Republic?
Sound by me, mate. It fucking looks lush. So I'm down there, and then it looks like straight from that, I'm straight up into America, around America. And he was saying there that I could be away, I think it's for like 6 weeks, because it's going to take all the way through February into March. And then it's Miami in March, so I may as well be over there. So I could well be away from January till the end of March type of thing. Which would be cool. It's better places it's like worse places, than America, isn't it? To be based for a bit. And then release-wise, I'm sat on so much music, mate. Like, ridiculous amount.
New stuff or remixes, bootlegs?
I've done enough remixes for the year, without a doubt.
Yeah. I've seen a lot recently of edits and stuff like that.
Yeah, so... now this is all like brand new originals, so I think the next one could be maybe a 2-track EP.
I was going to say, because back in the day, a lot of your releases were centered around, or at least when kind of Pepsi and Guffers and stuff like that were coming out, a lot of them were centered around 2-trackers, 4-trackers, 8-trackers. It's been, at least in terms of what I see, more singles recently. Yeah. Have you got, would you ever do like a full album or something like that?
I mean, I went to the team and I'd spoke about doing maybe like another kind of conceptual album project, maybe 9 tracks, or even 3 releases of 5. Do you know what I mean? So it's like 15 tracks that I'm putting out, and at the end of the 15, I'll do like a huge, like continuous mix. But also in between the mixes, I'll do kind of like I'll add synth work in there to make it just a one-off performance type of thing. So people have got this mix, but at this moment in time, singles are the ones which are performing best, and that's what they perform best on the likes of Beatport, which promoters and people are going off. So if you're constantly getting to number one, which a lot of my releases are on the prog charts, it's
good.
Like, yeah, if you release a 3-tracker, it goes into more of the release charts, and people buy the release as a whole rather than specific tracks. I don't fully understand that side of things. That's me management telling me what's going on. Then, I mean, it's Eric and like our manager Mick who is saying like release 1 track at a time. It's coming out on a label which is owned by Eric. I'll be like, I kind of trust you, mate. So it's all good. So yeah, I am looking at other labels, and there's other labels out there which I want to work with. I'd love to release on Solomon's label Dynamic. I mean, I've already done Sasha's and Digweeds, which was a big target of mine.
What's left? Any other ones? Like if
probably just Solomon's, mate, to be honest with you, yeah.
Cool. Well, if you're listening, Solomon,
get us on, big lad.
Have a crack on. Man, it's been fantastic time. I really appreciate it. It's been awesome.
Got to catch up, man.
Next time you're here, let me know. Anyone who wants to follow you online, where should they head?
Twitter and Instagram is Cristoph Music. I'm sure Facebook's Cristoph Music. And SoundCloud is Cristoph Music as well. But you spell Cristoph Cristoph. I think a lot of it, people misspell it and stuff like that.
There's a whole number of ways that people can ruin your artist name, isn't there?
I think it goes to autocorrect on iPhones and things like that, and it adds an H after the C. Well, that's what I keep telling myself. Anyways.
Yeah, I know. That'll be it. Anyway, man, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much,
Cheers.
mate.